Gather round the fire, friends, beneath a sky ablaze with stars. Welcome back to Tales of the Untamed West, where the frontier's untamed spirit dances with the ancient stories of the Diné. Tonight, we journey to the sacred Monument Valley, a land of towering stones and whispered secrets, where a young Navajo man faced a trickster's challenge that would echo through the ages. This is a tale of trickery, wisdom, and the strength of the Navajo people. A Navajo folktale woven with the wild threads of the West. Meet Dineta, a man of wit and courage, and follow his battle of wits with the cunning Coyote. If you loved the song of the wandering crow, the ghost of Black Mesa, and the spirit of Red Canyon, this story will spark your imagination. Hit that subscribe button and let's step into the shadows of Monument Valley. Keep the fire burning, and let's begin. In the year 1880, the sacred lands of Monument Valley stood as a testament to the Diné's enduring spirit, a place where towering red monoliths rose like ancient giants, their shadows stretching across golden sands. The desert air shimmered with heat, the sky a vast canvas of blue, and the earth whispered stories through petroglyphs carved into the stone. Spirals, stars, and coyotes that spoke of the Navajo's bond with the land. At the valley's edge, a small village nestled in the shade of cottonwood trees, its hogans blending into the desert, their rounded roofs adorned with subtle geometric patterns of zigzags and diamonds. Here lived Dineta, a man of 25 summers, with a mind as sharp as a flint blade and a heart full of curiosity. The village was a haven of tradition, its people bound by the songs and stories of their ancestors. Women wove blankets under the shade, their fingers threading patterns of the sky, while men tended to the sheep, their staffs tapping a steady rhythm. Children played among the monoliths, their laughter echoing through the valley, a sound as precious as water in a land of dust. Dineta's family lived in a hogan near the village's heart, where his mother, Halona, prepared flatbread over a small fire, her hands steady despite the lines of worry on her face. His father, Bidzi, a skilled horseman, sat nearby, mending a bridle, his silence a testament to the burdens he carried. Dineta's older sister, Nasha, a healer known for her gentle touch, mixed herbs in a clay bowl, her eyes often drifting to the horizon. Each evening, the village gathered around a communal fire, the elders sharing tales under a sky that shimmered with stars. Dineta's uncle, Hastien, was the keeper of stories, his gray hair glowing in the firelight, his voice a river of wisdom. He spoke of the holy people, of spirits that roamed the land, and of Coyote, the trickster spirit whose laughter could bring both fortune and ruin. Coyote teaches through mischief, Hastin would say, but his lessons are sharp. Respect him, Dineta, for he sees what we cannot. Dineta listened, his curiosity a flame that burned bright. But he often wondered if Coyote's tales were more than stories. For weeks, a shadow had loomed over the village. A group of Wild West traders, led by a man named Carver, had come to Monument Valley, their wagons heavy with tools and greed. They sought the desert's hidden treasures, turquoise and amethysts buried beneath the sands, but their picks and dynamite scarred the sacred land, shattering petroglyphs and uprooting junipers. The elders chanted prayers to the holy people, their voices rising in protest, but Carver's men laughed, their rifles gleaming, their words sharp. "This land's ours now," Carver had said, his voice a snarl. "Move, or we'll move you." One evening, as the village shared a meal of mutton and corn, Dineta sat apart, his gaze fixed on the monoliths, their shadows long under the moon. Nasha joined him, her hands stained with sage, her voice soft. "The land cries, brother," she said. "What will we do?" Dineta's jaw tightened, his mind racing. He knew the Diné could fight, but Carver's men were many, their weapons deadly. "We need a way," he said, "a way to outsmart them." As the fire died to embers, a howl broke the silence, a coyote's cry, sharp and mocking, echoing through the valley. Dineta felt a chill, the spirits stirring, and he knew the night held a challenge he could not ignore. The coyote's howl lingered in Dineta's mind, a call that pulled him from sleep. At midnight, he slipped from his hogan, the village silent under a moonlit sky, the monoliths standing like sentinels in the distance. The air was cool, scented, with sage and dust, and the stars above seemed to watch as Dineta climbed a sandy ridge, his woven tunic catching the moonlight, his flint knife at his belt. At the ridge's crest, he stopped, his breath catching. A coyote stood before him, its fur shimmering like silver, its amber eyes glowing with mischief. This was no ordinary beast. This was Coyote, the trickster spirit, his laughter a ripple in the wind. "I know you're troubled, Dineta," Coyote said, his voice a sly purr that seemed to dance with the stars. "Carver and his men scar the land, and your people suffer. Solve my riddles, and I'll help you drive them away. Fail, and this valley will be theirs." Dineta's heart raced, Hastian's warnings echoing in his mind, but he saw the monoliths, the petroglyphs, the faces of his people, and knew he had no choice. "I'll solve your riddles," he said, his voice steady. Coyote's eyes gleamed, his tail flicking. "3 riddles, then," he said. "Here's the first. I am born of the sky, yet I touch the earth. I am life, yet I can kill. What am I?" Dineta's mind turned, the riddle a puzzle that danced just out of reach. He thought of the Diné teachings, of the land's balance, and the answer came like a whisper, rain. "You are rain," he said, his voice firm. "Born of the sky, touching the earth, giving life but killing with floods." Coyote laughed, a sound that echoed through the valley, his form shimmering. "Clever, Dineta," he said. "But 2 riddles remain. You'll need help." With a flick of his tail, he vanished, leaving Dineta alone under the stars, the riddle's answer a spark of hope in the darkness. At dawn, Dineta returned to the village, his steps quick with purpose. He found Nasha tending her herbs, her hands stained with cedar, her eyes sharp with concern. "Coyote came to me," he said, his voice low. "He gave me a riddle to save our land, and I solved the first. But I need you, sister." Nasha's gaze softened, her healer's heart. sensing the spirits at work. "I'll go with you," she said, gathering her pouch of sage and cedar, her woven shawl glowing with patterns of stars. As they prepared to leave, a figure approached. Clara, a Wild West reporter with hair the color of sand, her notebook tucked under her arm, her revolver at her hip. Clara had come to the valley weeks ago, her stories of the Diné's plight published in Eastern papers, her heart drawn to their cause. "I heard Carver's men talking," she said, her voice sharp. "They're planning to blast the valley tomorrow. I'm coming with you." Dinetta nodded, sensing the spirit's hand in her presence, a fragile alliance born of necessity. The Chihuahua trio set out under a blazing sun, coyotes howl a distant echo, the monoliths looming like guardians. Dinetta led the way, his tunic catching the wind, Nasha at his side, her shawl a shield of stars, and Clara behind, her revolver ready. The desert stretched before them, a sea of dunes and cracked earth, the horizon hiding Coyote's next riddle. Dinetta felt the weight of the challenge, the spirit's whispers a steady hum, but he also felt the strength of his companions, a bond that would guide them through the trickster's game. The desert sun bore down on Dinetta, Nasha, and Clara as they trekked deeper into Monument Valley, the monoliths casting long shadows across the dunes. The air shimmered with heat, the scent of dust and sage heavy, and the silence was broken only by the crunch of sand beneath their feet. Dinetta's mind turned over Coyote's first riddle, its answer a spark of confidence, but he knew the trickster's challenges would grow harder. Nasha walked beside him, her shawl glowing with star patterns, her pouch of sage a quiet comfort, while Clara followed, her revolver at her hip, her notebook filled with sketches of the valley's petroglyphs, her eyes sharp with curiosity. The sun reached its zenith. A howl cut through the stillness, a coyote's cry, sharp and mocking. Coyote appeared on a monolith's peak, his silver fur glinting, his amber eyes gleaming with mischief. "You've brought friends, Dinetta," he said, his voice a sly purr. "Good. You'll need them for my second riddle." He leaped down, landing before them, his tail flicking like a flame. "I am not alive, yet I grow. I have no lungs, yet I breathe. I have no mouth, yet I roar. What am I?" Dinetta's brow furrowed, the riddle a tangle in his mind. Nasha's hand brushed his arm, her voice soft. "Think of the land," she said, her healer's wisdom a guide. Clara adjusted her hat, her reporter's mind turning. "It's something natural," she said, "something powerful." Dinetta closed his eyes, the Diné teachings flowing through him, and the answer came, a canyon wind. "You are the wind," he said, his voice firm. "Not alive, yet growing with gusts, breathing through the valley, roaring in storms." Coyote's laughter echoed, his form shimmering. "Well done," he said, "but the third riddle waits and time grows short." Before Coyote could vanish, a shout broke the silence. Carvers, men, a dozen traders on horseback, their rifles gleaming, their wagons trailing dust. They'd spotted the trio, their greed a fire that burned hotter than the sun. "There they are!" Carver shouted, his voice a snarl, his rifle raised. "They're after our claim!" Deneta, Nasha, and Clara dove behind a monolith, bullets, kicking up sand, their hearts pounding. "We can't outrun them," Clara said, her revolver ready, her voice steady. Nasha scattered sage, her chant a whisper, calling on the spirits for protection. Deneta gripped his flint knife, his mind racing. He needed Coyote's help, but the trickster was gone, his laughter a fading echo. The traders closed in, their horses snorting, their rifles flashing in the sun. Deneta led the trio through, a narrow pass, the monoliths rising like walls, their petroglyphs glowing faintly. Coyotes and stars, a sign of the spirit's presence. But the pass ended at a sheer drop, a canyon yawning below, its depths a shadow of death. Carver's men blocked the way back, their laughter harsh. "Nowhere to run, Navajo," Carver sneered, his rifle aimed at Deneta's heart. "This valley's ours." Deneta's gaze met Nasha's, her eyes calm with faith, then Clara's, her jaw set with defiance. He thought of the village, the monoliths, the petroglyphs scarred by greed, and felt the spirits stir, Coyote's riddle a test of more than wit. "We stand together," he said, his voice ringing through the pass, his knife a promise in his hand. The wind howled, the monoliths trembling, and Coyote's laughter returned, a ripple in the air, as if the trickster watched, waiting to see if Deneta's wisdom would hold. The wind's howl grew louder, a gust that swept through the pass, stirring sand into a blinding storm. Deneta, Nasha, and Clara stood firm, the monoliths shielding them as Carver's men faltered, their rifles wavering, their shouts lost in the gale. Coyote appeared in the storm's heart, his silver fur glowing, his amber eyes a flame of mischief. "You've faced danger well, Deneta," he said, his voice cutting through the wind. "But my third riddle will test your soul. Solve it and I'll help you. Fail, and your people lose all." Deneta's heart pounded, the storm a mirror of his mind. But he nodded, his voice steady. "Give me your riddle, Coyote," he said. Coyote's tail flicked, his grin sharp. "I am always with you, yet you cannot see me. I am your guide, yet I lead you astray. I am your strength, yet I am your weakness. What am I?" The riddle was a labyrinth, its words a dance of opposites, and Deneta felt the weight of the valley, his people, the monoliths pressing on him. Nasha's hand found his, her chant a whisper of sage and cedar, her healer's wisdom a light in the storm. "It's within you," she said, her voice soft but sure. Clara's eyes met his, her reporter's mind sharp. "It's something human," she said, "something we all share." Deneta closed his eyes, the Diné teachings flowing through him, the stories of Coyote a guide. The answer came like a star in the night, fear. "You are fear," he said, his voice ringing through the storm. "Always with us unseen, guiding us to safety, yet leading us to doubt, our strength in danger, yet our weakness in despair." Coyote's laughter boomed, the storm stilling, the sand falling like a curtain. "You've learned, Deneta." he said, his form shimmering, his eyes gleaming with approval. Fear can destroy, but wisdom turns it to strength. I'll keep my promise. With a flick of his tail, he vanished, leaving the trio alone in the pass. The traders' shouts growing louder, their rifles gleaming through the dust. Carver's men charged, their horses thundering, their bullets tearing through the air. Deneta, Nasha, and Clara fought with all they had. Deneta's knife flashing, Nasha's arrows flying, Clara's revolver barking. The monoliths stood like guardians, their petroglyphs glowing, the spirits of the valley a hum in the earth. But the traders were many, their greed a fire that burned through reason, and Deneta felt the weight of fear, the riddle's truth a test of his soul. As Carver aimed at Deneta, a howl broke the chaos. Coyote, his silver form darting through the pass, his laughter a mocking dance. He leapt at the traders, his teeth a flash of moonlight, his movements a blur, leading them into a trap of their own making. The horses reared, the men shouted, and the pass collapsed in a shower of sand and stone, the monoliths trembling as if the valley itself fought back. Carver's men fled, their wagons abandoned, their greed swallowed by the desert, and the pass fell silent, the petroglyphs a testament to the Diné's survival. Deneta, Nasha, and Clara emerged from the pass, their breaths ragged, their hands stained with dust and sage. The valley stretched before them, the monoliths standing tall, their shadows a promise of peace. Coyote sat on a dune, his silver, fur glowing under the setting sun, his amber eyes a twinkle of mischief. "You've done well, Deneta," he said, his voice a sly purr. "Your wisdom turned fear to strength, and your people stood together. I've kept my promise. The traitors are gone, tricked by their own greed." Deneta's heart swelled, the weight of the riddles lifted, replaced by a quiet pride. "Thank you, Coyote," he said, his voice steady, his knife a reminder of the battle. Nasha smiled, her shawl glowing with stars, her healer's hands a comfort. "The spirits guided us," she said, her chant a whisper of thanks. Clara tucked, her notebook away, her revolver holstered, her eyes bright with awe. "I'll write this story," she said, her voice warm. "The Diné's wisdom is a tale the world should know." The trio returned to the village, their steps light, the monoliths a silent guard. The village gathered at the valley's heart, their faces a mix of relief and joy, the Hogans untouched, the sheep safe. Halona ran to Deneta, her tears falling as she pulled him into a fierce hug. "You're safe," she sobbed, her voice breaking. Bidsy placed a hand on Deneta's shoulder, his eyes shining with pride. "You saved our land," he said, his voice thick. Nasha embraced the elders, her herbs a gift of healing, while Clara stood apart, her presence a bridge between worlds. That night the village held a ceremony, the fire blazing high, its flames dancing under the stars. Hastian led the chants, his voice a river of wisdom, a song of thanks to the holy people, to Coyote, to the valley that held their stories. Deneta stood with his people, the monoliths glowing under the moon, the petroglyphs a testament to their survival. Halona wove him a new blanket, its threads patterned with coyotes and stars, draping it over his shoulders. "For your wisdom," she said, her eyes shining. Bidsy handed him a carved staff, its wood etched with the shape of a coyote. "For your courage," he said, his voice steady. The village danced under the stars, the drums beating a rhythm of renewal, the air filled with laughter and sage. Denata looked at the monoliths, their shadows a promise of peace, and felt the spirits' whispers. Coyotes' laughter a soft echo in the night. The valley was theirs, its stories safe, its balance restored, and the Diné stood stronger than ever, their unity a light in the darkness. Years later, Denata stood among the monoliths, his children at his side, their eyes wide with wonder. He held the carved staff, its coyote pattern worn smooth, and told them the story of Coyote's riddles, of trickery, wisdom, and the unity that saved their people. "The spirits test us," he said, pointing to the stars, "but wisdom guides our path." Nasha joined them, a healer revered, her shawl glowing with stars, and Clara, a friend of the Diné, stood nearby, her stories of the valley now legend in the east. On quiet nights, Denata would hear coyotes howl, not of mischief, but of peace, and look up to see a silver coyote darting among the monoliths, its amber eyes a twinkle under the moonlight, a guardian of the Diné. And that, friends, is the Coyote's riddle. I hope Denata's journey lit a spark in your heart. If it did, leave a comment. Could you solve Coyote's riddles? Subscribe to Tales of the Untamed West for more Navajo folk tales and Wild West legends, and explore our Untamed Tales playlist. Until next time, keep the fire burning, and may the spirits guide your path.